Welcome to a new lesson. Today we're going to talk about how to create a proper raw style kick using Serum. And the best way to show that off is to show the track that I made. It's kind of a bootleg by Unresolved, but it was me. It's the Yeah Boy track by Bloodlust, Mish, and Sick Mode. So we're going to dive into that. I'm going to show you how it's done. If you're new here, my name is Niroz. I have 18 years of experience in music production. I teach music production, but the difference between me and a lot of other things that you'll find online is that my stuff is in depth. I'm trying to help you understand why you should twist certain knobs, not so much a quick fix. So if you're up for that, make sure to drop a follow, drop a like, and without further ado, let's dive into FL Studio. All right, so we are in the project file that I made. Well, how about we just take a listen to it to start off with? No, not that. Over here. All right, so this project will be available for my students for free. They can change whatever they want, but for now, we're just gonna see what I did. Also, the screech is kind of unresolved. Now I think about it, it's pretty good, if I may say so. Let's look at the kick, because that's what you came here for, right? All right, so the kick is honestly just a few layers. It sounds like this. And honestly, it's just one Serum layer, and I will show you. We have over here the Unre kick and the Unre what? It should be Unre punch, but whatever. So this is technically the kick, what you're hearing, and this is the punch that I put on top of it. Together it sounds like this with some automations here. You can hear that reverb going here. All right, let's break it down. Let's start with 90% of the bass of the kick, which is this. Sorry, this. Alone, it sounds pretty empty, right? It sounds very thin. So it's not usually one layer that will do all the magic, even though this is technically one layer because I duplicated it. I just put other effects on it. Okay, so what are we actually hearing? It's a kick. Obviously, it's a kick. But let's look at it. Let's look at how this is built. Okay, stretching it. I can hear my computer working. Okay, so this is the matrix. This is basically everything that's happening. What do we have here? We have an oscillator on the LFO, on the sub oscillator level. We have an LFO2, the master tune. We have LFO3 on the wet of the reverb. We have LFO4, but this is off by the way, LFO4 on the AWT position on LFO4. And we have a B warp on LFO5. All right, so what does that mean? Okay, let's take a look at it. Starting by 1, LFO1, the sub oscillator level. Okay, oscillator 1, I mean LFO1. Where's LFO1? Well, if you look at the bottom here, envelope 1, envelope 2, envelope 3. LFO1, this is LFO1. So this one is connected to the sub oscillator level. Well, what does that mean? Okay, well, the sub oscillator level indicates the level of the amount of sub. So you have two oscillators in Serum, oscillator A, oscillator B, and you have the sub. So this one is controlling the sub. Let's listen what it does and what happens when we change it. Okay, let's turn off all the effects maybe. Literally only distortion. Yeah, that's how much of a difference it makes. So here we are, LFO1, and this is the sub control oscillator level. So you see, what you're seeing is you see this movement, right? And you see that back over here. As I turn this off, and you also see this over here when you hover above it. It's LFO1 assigned to the sub. Okay, let's turn it off. So it's the low end what you're hearing. Okay, cool. So does that mean that the oscillator waits here for the punch and then turns the sub up? I think it does. So you have to visualize it. The LFO1, let's say this is the punch, so there's no sub at the punch. If I put this all the way here, this is probably going to sound like a lot of bass. Probably, if I visualize it. That's correct. So what I did, man, I wish Control Z worked with Serum. It's so annoying. You have to manually put that back. Okay, so you're controlling the sub here. We'll dive into that later. So I'm just trying to show you what it does. You can change it. You can change whatever you want, obviously. If you like this better, then by all means. I choose to do it like this. Okay, we're going to go to LFO2, which is on the master tune. All right, what is a master tune? Oh, let's look at LFO2. What is this? What happens if I change it? Okay, so what I hear is that I can hear the punch change. Right, this is the beginning of the kick. And this works way better in kick 2, which is a VST where you can actually draw your whole kick. But for now, we have to work with this. So basically what the master tune does is it changes the pitch. So visually, what happens here is it changes the pitch up really high, going back down and continuing the momentum. If I say, let's turn it up here. Now you can hear it, right? So it's a quick change in punch. Quick change in the pitch that will activate that activates the punch sound, because you're changing the beginning of the sound. You're changing the pitch of the sound to create the punch effect. If I leave it out, there's not going to be any punch. It's going to sound like this. Okay, like this then. Wow, new kick, great. So now it's turning up. So through this way, through putting a LFO2 on the master tune, you can change the whole pitch of the complete sound. So oscillator A, B, and sub. You can also just do it for oscillator A or oscillator B, but in this case, I decided to do it for everything. So the master tune, right? So you have to find a sweet spot to make a nice punch. Well, definitely not up, but usually the beginning is just really punchy, so you want to focus on the beginning part. Whatever you want, right? You can tweak it until you... Yeah, I don't even know what I was going to say, but you can tweak it infinitely until you have a sweet spot that you like. Okay, so that's what the LFO2 does, the master tune, right? And then you can even do the amount of master tune. You can do it like minus. So now it's the opposite way. I like that. So that's what the LFO2 does, master tune. You can find it here, global, and then master tune. Turning my microphone down a little bit. Okay, so now we have the verb wet, which is an FX, obviously. The easier way to do that is go to FX, go to the reverb, and then put it on a LFO or in the matrix. But for now, this one is turned off. I think I used it before. Let's see what happens when I change it back on. Nothing, because the reverb is off. So basically what this does is you can hear it in the tail, right? It adds a lot of drive to it. I decided to do that by splitting it up to the Unreal I'll rename it Unreal Punch. And so I can have fully control over the punch and the tail, if you will, the complete the kick without the punch. So that's why I decided not to do it. So that's why I'm not using this anymore. So you can just turn this off or whatever. All right, then moving on to the LFO4 position. LFO4, what are you doing? LFO4, you are connected to the oscillator A WT position. What is the oscillator A WT position? Well, it's over here. And let's see what happens when you change it. The waveform of the wavetable is changing. I think I used this before, so let's change it up to a little more complicated wavetable. Yeah, basically, okay, so what it does, it creates the movement in the oscillator. So the WT position, see how it changes? It changes the wavetable. Therefore, it's called wavetable position. So the LFO4 on the wavetable position goes up, goes down. So if you look at it, okay, when I change it back, it doesn't change. So with this parameter, you can change oscillator A, which is probably I used it for the punch. But now, honestly, I think I was on analog BD. Yeah, this sounds more clean. So then again, what it does is LFO4 just, it changes the wavetable, the shape of the oscillator. You can put it on anything, honestly. Obviously, it's Serum. You can do whatever you want. But if you want, you can experiment with oscillator A as a punch. I just decided to split that up. Whatever you want. I'm just explaining here what I did. Then we're going to move on to LFO5. LFO5 is on a B warp, oscillator B warp. Okay, oscillator B, what's up? Where are you, warp? It's right here, LFO5. What are you doing? Okay, this looks like I'm creating momentum for the tail. Let's see. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I introduce oscillator B. It's kind of a all over the place synth to create that mechanic drive effect. You can select another oscillator. I just like this, and this one, when I turn this off, you know, this is actually the drive that is being added to the kick. So, and if you find different wavetables or oscillators, you can create your own tail, of course. This one's too mechanic, but maybe if you switch this up a little bit, see it changes the waveform. And this one is kind of made for a triplet kick. If you're saying like you work in a quarter beats, then you have to make sure it's on something like this, maybe. Bum, 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 right? So you're changing the rhythm of your kick with that. Okay, so now I explained the basics of this preset, if you will. Now, how can you create better kicks for yourself? Okay, twisting the knobs, right? Easy, but it's not. I like to split up the kick and the punch because I have more control. Now, I can do whatever I want with the punch. The punch is the most important thing in the kick. I would say it identifies the sound more than the tail and stuff. Let's listen to it. Okay, now let's say I want to change the punch. Okay, we have the parameters here. It's probably very similar because I just duplicated it. Therefore, it's honestly one layer, huh? Right? And let's see. Okay, we have oscillator B, A, sub. I don't think sub does anything. No, we can leave that off. Okay, so we have oscillator A, moving a little bit. B is static, it's not moving. We have the filter. That filters out the frequencies. So how can we change the punch? Well, there's a million ways to do this. Okay, let's say we can lower the pitch, right click. That doesn't do much. Okay, we can go to the FX chain. Obviously, there's a fix. This is very basic what I do. I EQ boost the right frequency that I like. I can boost this frequency if I like. I can boost this one. I can make it sharp, I can make it wide. This one's cool, just some distortion. The wave shaper isn't even on. What else do we have? Corrections, low EQ. This one is also turned off, and some multiband compression to control the peaks a little bit. Nothing spectacular, right? Okay. Now let's change up the punch a little bit more to make it sound a little bit more more different than this. I would say, what do we have here? We can play around with the master tune, you know, to change up the pitch. We can change the oscillator, we can change the filter. There's so many things that we can do, but you need to understand what everything does. Let's just play around with the master tune. Okay, so enhancing this makes it a little bit more punchy. Okay, let's go to the master tune over here, which is oscillator 2. Okay, 2. Let's see what we can do with this. I'm trying to see if I can make it a little bit of a deeper. It's a little bit too punchy for me, but a little too clicky. And now it sounds like a banjo. Let's turn this off. Let's solo it. Yeah, so that sounds really weird, right? So you want to preserve a little bit of the master tune. Well, maybe there's a nice wavetable that sounds amazing with this. It's all very sawy. I don't like it that much. Okay. What if we turn it down an octave? No, we need to stick to the master tune. That will give us the punch back. Okay, how about the filter? Okay, maybe another oscillator with a little bit of detune. I don't know. Not bad. Okay, let's change the frequency. Okay, so now we still have the punchy effect, but it's now a little bit lower. Okay, how does it sound together? Not bad, not too fan of the clickiness. And that's a little bit better. Okay, we're getting it somewhere. Maybe another wavetable. Okay, not bad, not bad. It's very punchy. I'm gonna turn that down a little bit. Yeah. All right, this is starting to look like something cool. Okay. So that's why I tried to split the punch and the kick. Right? Okay, back to the kick. Because how can you achieve this distortion? Well, without any effects, it sounds like this. That's pretty sad. Just a distortion, this, nothing. But that's it. You can play around with it, change it up. And even when you shift the frequency, you can hear the movement in the tail. So that's... Now I have a completely different tail because the movement is pretty much gone. So it sounds like... I mean, that's not bad. I like that, but I like that movement a little bit more. You know, that unresolved movement. Okay, I feel like I could boost this a little bit higher. This. Oh, I turned off this distortion. Oh, okay. Now it's a little bit too much though. So it's distortion on distortion. I mean, sounds pretty cool, crunchy, right? So the compressor tones down that movement a lot. I think I like it more with the compressor off. Yeah, that's not bad. You can also tweak the compressor, of course, whatever you want. So how can you create a good kick with Serum? Is by understanding what the knobs do. Oscillator A, B, sub, FX. I will do a complete Serum tutorial because, especially for newbies, it might be a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot of buttons here, but the main thing that you should keep in mind is the matrix is basically where everything happens. You can honestly copy paste this, and everything will sound the same if you just use oscillator A and B and the filter these settings, right? But the most important thing is that you split it up, find something you like, play around with the wavetables, and then something will come up. It's hard, you know, I have 18 years of experience, so it looks a little bit easy maybe because I know what I'm doing, but if you put your mind to it, you can do that too. Yeah, I definitely like it better with that compressor off, by the way. Yeah, pretty clean raw kick. Okay, and then what are we doing here? Okay, well, what happens here is we have the punch here. Or did I put everything on one layer? Okay, so nothing happens here. This is gone. The reverb of the punch starts low and goes up, right? You can hear that clearly without the All right, and then we have a Fab Filter Pro Q3 mix level. No idea what that does. Nothing. Nothing. They're all off. Oh man, I really like that kick. Very crunchy. So, bottom line, to summarize it, how to create a good kick in Serum. Again, by understanding what you're doing, adjusting the right parameters, and but it's not that hard. And I hope that you learned something. It might be a little bit complicated. This might not be for newbies. This might be for a little bit more experienced producers. Then again, I hope you learned something. If you want to learn more, and if you want to have better, in-depth lessons, you should definitely check out my 2 programs. And if you're watching this as a non-beginner, then I would recommend the Ultimate Hardstyle Rawstyle Producer Program with a lot of lessons like this but even more extended. Again, these lessons are not a quick fix. I'm trying to help you understand how things work instead of the quick fix that will bring you farther and it will make you a more unique artist. So thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment if you like. And definitely check out my website. And I'll catch you to the next one.